Okay, okay, okay. Hey, YouTube. I'm back after a day off. I needed a little bit of rest. I made some terrible bets on Sunday, so looking to bounce back from it. But luckily, I didn't get the numbers I wanted for a couple of them, so I moved on three from the video and lost all three. So channel record is now 50 and 30 after those three losses on Sunday. I knew not to wager on Sunday, but I broke my rule and, you know, I lost for it. So we're gonna talk about them real quick and then we'll get right into the new games for Tuesday. So the first game was Winthrop. I think they might have even been like a 6.5 favorite. They got beat up on though. I didn't even watch the game. I took a nap around that time, just woke up to the L, and then by then Memphis was playing. And ooh, I lost these next two bets by the hook. So East Tennessee won by 2 points and Memphis won by 1 point. So both of the teams I chose won the game, but I ended up losing by half a point in each one, so they didn't cover the spreads. Memphis is terrible. They didn't even deserve to win this game, honestly, but I'm kind of happy for them because I think they're in the conference tournament, so maybe we'll fade them first round. We'll see. But East Tennessee was down horribly the whole game and like somehow scrounged back at the end and won. So pretty crazy, pretty crazy. Both of these games, like they were both down to the bitter end. So good games. Missed them by the hook and ended up losing three. So let's see what we can do today. First game is Arizona State versus Baylor. So for this game, I'm honestly not going to touch it. I mean, I have no idea. I think this line is fine. Like, I'm not about to back Baylor. Do I think they're a few points better than Arizona State? Yeah. On a neutral, absolutely. But I'm not going to bet like that enough to lay the 3.5 with them in an elimination game right here. I think this could go either way, so I'm not even going to touch it. Next game is Alcorn State versus Prairie View. So I like Prairie View. I mean, I like Alcorn State here plus the 6.5. So if you, that's the number that I got on this. They've been playing good. Like they've impressed me in the last run of the season in their last conference games, and they really impressed me on their first tournament game today. So I think they hold this game close. I have no reason to believe that. I mean, I'm getting basically between 3.5 and 7 for Prairie View as the favorite. So I'm getting Alcorn State as a 3.5 to 7 point dog. So usually I wouldn't move on something like that, but just the way they've been recently playing in conference, coupled with the fact that I think the away sample is complete nonsense, really makes me lean Alcorn State with the points because we have them throughout the whole season losing by 20 points to teams that are ranked an average of 197 in Ken Palm. So not only are these teams a lot better than Prairie View, but these games are stretching back to the beginning of the season, non-conference play, when Alcorn State was playing really bad, and I don't think that's reflective at all of how they're about to play on the neutral court, and they already, have experience now on the court, because I'm pretty sure Prairie View is off a bye. Let's just check what they've been up to. Yeah, Alcorn State, like bottom of the conference here, but although they're bottom of the conference, they're only two conference games away from Prairie View, so very similar teams in my opinion. And like I like this Prairie View just whooped them. They are off of 3 wins and they lost to them earlier in the season. So Alcorn State has shown the ability to win. And I mean, we got a team off of 3 huge wins who hasn't played since the end of last week. Hmm. So I don't really mind this spot at all for Alcorn. especially given the fact that they just played on the neutral court already today. They whooped Alabama State on the neutral court, so they already got some experience playing over here in the tournament court, and they haven't been doing great like the last few games. They're off some pretty rough losses, so I think they're just being undervalued just because of the losses that they took to Arkansas Pine Bluff and Prairie View the last few games. But I think they fight here, and especially I like the fact that they are not like shooting crazy threes. Like they didn't come in and win this game off the three ball. They just outplayed them the whole game. So there could be due for a high shooting percentage game. So I don't really think that this is it's gonna be a big blowout here. I think that if Prairie View wins, it's by 2 possessions max. So I'm rolling Alcorn. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, so next game on the slate is Pittsburgh versus Stanford. And for this game, I mean, I really like Pittsburgh. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there with them, but I think these teams are pretty similar when you're breaking them down across the whole season. And I think Pittsburgh is due just because of the fact that they kind of been shooting bad. Let me see the Stanford is off a bit of a heater, and I wouldn't mind fading them off of that at all. Yeah, whoa. 4 game streak. I mean, they didn't play anybody great, but they whooped on SMU and NC State. Beat NC State by a point. Beat Notre Dame by less than 10. Beat Pittsburgh by 8 points. So, did they play earlier? Nah, they only played 1 game against each other this season, and Stanford won. Stanford lost to Cal, Wake Forest, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Cal. So, they have plenty of bad losses in this conference. Yeah, they beat Georgia Tech and Boston College. I'm not impressed by that. The only thing I'm impressed by for this team this season, any time recently, would be this 4 game streak they're on, but they have not proven that they can hold a 4 game streak at any point. Maybe when they had Notre Dame, Cal State, Northridge. I mean, this period in January where they were playing the best ball. I mean, they beat Louisville. That was kind of before Louisville started their run, though, for sure. Virginia Tech and North Carolina. So they have a few good wins from earlier on in the season, but judging by just their conference play, there's just no reason to believe that they're going to just come in here and just cover 5.5. Like Pittsburgh's recent performance has not been very good at all. I mean, they take a ton of losses, so maybe this is a crazy team to back here, but they hung tight with Florida State. They beat Cal, they beat Syracuse, who are both good teams. They beat Notre Dame. They got kind of whooped by Duke and NCU, but no surprise. They got whooped by SMU, Virginia, Clemson. They beat Wake Forest. They beat Georgia Tech. So, like, their conference wins are not like Stanford's conference wins are not much more impressive. I guess. Oh, Duke, North Carolina, they're both in the conference. Okay. So Stanford has 4 more conference wins. I mean, it's a lot better. That is a lot better. Okay, it might be a little risky to back Pittsburgh here, but I just would love to fade Stanford on this run they've been having. I really don't think they're much better. And I think Pittsburgh is low key due for a game. This horrible run. They have trouble winning twice in a row, though. I think it's going to be a close game. So I like Pittsburgh. I'm probably not going to move on that one, though. All right, next one, Cincinnati, Utah. This is another one I'm probably not going to move on, even though I probably wouldn't mind just taking Utah plus 11.5 because I did see those floating around. And I honestly think that Cincinnati is also due to falter here, even though a lot of people are saying they're a dark horse candidate for the tourney. I don't know if I believe that. Play good at home, but I have a feeling they're not going to play good in this game. Utah's just so bad. I mean, there's just no reason to back Utah. I don't think they have many conference wins. They beat West Virginia and TCU. That's their only two conference wins. That's pretty terrible. They lost by 4 points last time they played Cincinnati. Only time they played. So Cincinnati did not cover the number at home against this team. Oops. Let's see what they've been up to. A pretty crazy streak. I mean, they did lose to TCU, but their shooting percentages in this BYU and Oklahoma State game were nuts. Like Oklahoma State, I mean, both of these games they were shooting well above average from three. Same thing with the Kansas and the these games up here. They weren't shooting as crazy from three and getting wins, but their last two wins were all like based off of a high 3-point percentage. So I do think they have trouble shooting from the three here, which is kind of like how they beat teams for the most part. So again, I like the dog. Utah is just bad, you know? Like they're losing by this to everybody. They lost by this to Baylor, to Colorado, Arizona State. They kept it close, but to Iowa State, UCF they kept it close. Like kind of bad teams in the conference, they do keep it close with, which is getting, I mean, hey, it's an interesting spot for Utah for sure, off of all these losses getting whooped by Colorado and Baylor. Like I could see them bouncing back and running a close game. I mean, they ran a close game with Arizona State recently. They ran a close game with UCF. They ran a close game with Cincinnati. So I can't I can see them in their biggest game of the season running a close game with Cincinnati. That doesn't sound crazy to me at all, but I don't think I'll really be able to back them here. I mean, just looking at it, they're going on the road and losing by close to this number in their away game sample, and in their trailing around 8 to 10 sample, they are losing by this to teams that are around Cincinnati. So yeah, it's hard to back them with that. And then I would say though, looking at Cincinnati's ranked performance versus teams around 80, like they're not covering this number. It's not like Cincinnati is covering this number in any sample. But let me check, like if I increase that, if I like, I don't even know if I can. If I could like see Cincinnati in a sample where they are versing teams closer to Utah, but I mean, let's be real, Utah's like probably one of the lower ranked teams they had to deal with. Yeah, no difference. Let me check. Let me just dig a little deeper into Cincinnati's games real quick. Let's just look at teams that are between like 100 and 240. Oh wait, now I'm tripping. Like 100 and 190. So like whooped Kansas State when they played. Kansas State is ranked in around 100 Ken Palm. They whooped on Lipscomb, who's 197, so a lot worse. They lost to Xavier, though, who is around 100 Ken Palm, so I don't think that Cincinnati will cover this. I just don't know if I really am crazy enough to just back this terrible Utah team off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. I mean, They've lost more than that in conference this season. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get there on this, but ooh, I'm thinking about grabbing the dogs in these. I'm thinking about grabbing Pittsburgh and Utah for sure. Next game, this game I actually did like. I'm riding Oregon. They've been holding it down. Like again, I think they're just every single game they're undervalued. I don't think Maryland is very good, and I like to fade Maryland off the last good couple of good games that they've been having. Oregon's been playing so much better with Biddle, and I got them as a 2.5 to 5 point favorite, assuming samples where Biddle wasn't in yet and they were losing. So I really like them. I think all of these samples undervalue them because when you look at the last few games, it's a lot more impressive. I think they whoop on Maryland right here. I mean, Maryland is off quite a few losses, but that's kind of they do usually win after 4 L's. I will give them that, but honestly, like they held this game so close with Illinois that to me that's like a win for them. So I do feel like I'm fading them off of a win with the performance they just put up against Illinois because they did good. So I like fading them off of that good game a lot, knowing that the Ducks not only probably beat them this season already. Did they play? Oh, the Ducks beat them back in the day. It was a while ago, but oh, I like what I've been seeing from Oregon. I mean, they beat USC and Wisconsin. They held a really good game with Northwestern, and then they got whooped by Illinois. So I see why they're only laying three. And I like the market is respecting them for what they've been doing. Because the fact that Maryland held it close with Illinois and they got whooped is concerning. But we're not gonna let that stop us. They just beat Washington, who's a way better team than Maryland. They beat Wisconsin and USC. Like those are huge wins with Biddleback on the court. Whooped Penn State. Took a really bad loss to Minnesota, which was weird, but they almost beat Purdue. Like they took some tough losses, but I think they kind of have their stuff together at this point and are gonna go in here and beat on Maryland. So I'm rolling with the Oregon here. All right, UMass Lowell at UMBC. You already know what we're doing. UMBC is winning this game by double digits easily, and then if Vermont is lucky, they will get to play them either tomorrow or I forget when the last game is, but winner of this game and the Vermont versus NJIT game will play for the conference tournament championship. So UMBC is going to demolish this team. This team like only looks good in a really small sample in conference. Like every sample UMBC is covering this number. Yeah, it's a conference tournament game, but this is a team that kind of ran it close with UMBC this season already. So I think that UMBC just comes in and does what they've been doing. This is my favorite team right now. Just whooping, whooping, and whooping. What'd they do last time? Oh no, they absolutely destroyed them last time. They've destroyed this team twice. There's no reason for them not to do it again here. UMass Lowell is like fourth in the conference by default just because of how bad the conference is. They went on one run starting with Albany and ending in Binghamton. Like, this 4 game run is terrible. This team is not good. Yeah, they're done. They're done. We're on UMBC. All right, this game, ooh, the spread just came out. Ooh, let me just pull that up because I mean, I have Stephen F winning between 3.5 and 7.5. So I don't think I'm gonna jump in on it because I'm pretty sure it opened up at 6.5. Let me take a quick look at that. It should be on covers. Nah, it's not even here yet. But let me just check. DraftKings. Yep, 6.5. So, oh man, I don't think I can support them at that number. I do think they absolutely destroy this team right now, but they probably didn't even cover that last time they played this team. They've like been kind of struggling in conference to win by big numbers. I do think they'll have a way easier time than McNeese is gonna have having to play the Vaqueros. The UT Rio Grande Valley team, they're pretty good. So it looks like Stephen F beat them by 9 points in December and then by 10 points in February. Okay. So covering the number, they absolutely whooped Houston Christian, held a close game with Nichols. They almost beat the Vaqueros by 10 points. C had a close game with East Texas A&M, 10 points versus Lamar, like 7 versus McNeese. Whooped this team. So like they're kind of covering this number. It's just a matter if like are they really going to come out and go crazy their first conference game? I don't really know too much what to expect of them in this game, but we do know that Texas A&M Corpus Christi just won on this court. They just beat New Orleans by a decent margin, so I kind of do like to fade them off of that win. I'm not gonna lie. I do think that they probably don't have too great of a game coming off of 4 wins in a row. That's just kind of crazy. I might end up on Stephen A. I'm bugging. Stephen F. Austin. I I like this. Maybe I'll take this -6.5. Is that what it is? It's -6.5, -115 on DraftKings. Maybe some of the other books have it a little bit different. I don't even know if they listed it yet. Yeah, a lot of books don't even have this yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed up and closes at 7.5. But I kind of think Stephen F dominates, so I'm gonna lean with them on this one. I'll probably end up on them. All right, next game, Kansas State versus BYU. I really like BYU here, but like when looking at the samples, they really aren't covering this. So, yeah, overall in second half of the season, they're covering it. Recent samples, they're not, which honestly makes me lean towards them having a good game. It's just weird that looking at the road samples, both of these teams are playing similar on the road. So to be laying 10.5 when you're playing just around the same performance versus comparable teams on the road, it's just too much for me. I just don't really trust this BYU team. Do I think there's a good chance that Devontae comes out and just has a crazy game and blacks out on them? Yeah, that's definitely possible, but it's also possible that he just doesn't do great and they just play average. I mean, Kansas State is a pretty banged up team off of like some surprisingly good games, but after having their head coach fired, so I lean BYU for sure, but like I'm not really trying to lay 10.5 with them tomorrow. I'm good on that. I do have a feeling DeBonce is gonna just go off, but I'm sure everybody's thinking that. Okay, I see here. If I'm gonna do some, I'm gonna take 12.5 points with NJIT versus Vermont. NJIT is off one of the worst ass whoopings I've ever seen versus who'd they play? They played UMBC, my guys. So I think that off of that horrendous loss and the fact that like they're really not losing bad in conference whatsoever, and the fact that they beat Vermont is like really making me lean them hard. Like yeah, in the ranked sample Vermont has a huge edge, but this sample is completely irrelevant to me. I think the other four are what you're going to look at, and I even think that the home versus away sample is a little overdone. I mean, just looking at it though, NJIT on average is going on the road and they're covering the 12 and a half on average, which I kind of like, even though it's close. And Vermont is just not really whooping teams like that. Like they're playing teams just as like just around the same as NJIT, and they're not even winning by double digits. So I don't really see them winning this by 12 and a half unless there was like a recent injury on NJIT I don't know about. I wouldn't be surprised if money goes into Vermont somehow. No injuries, so yeah, I like NJIT here. It's kind of crazy, but let's check out what they've been up to. Like NJIT third in the conference. I mean, they're only two conference wins off of Vermont, so it's pretty interesting. It's just NJIT has not been playing good. So Vermont, of course, off several wins versus the absolute bums. They beat them by 6 points last time they played, and NJIT beat them like a month ago. It's not like this was like at the beginning of the season. They lost to NJIT the very last day of January, so we're really talking about like not much over a month ago. They lost at Maine, they lost to UAlbany. Like Vermont has questionable losses in conference versus teams they should be destroying. So I'm gonna fade them here. I think they're a bad team. NJIT live on the money line, man, especially after that complete whooping they got. Actually, let's just check real quick. What did they do after that whooping? Of course, we've been on UMBC for like a month straight, so we were on them this game. Okay, they came back and they beat Maine. That's good. That's good. Maine, a team that beat Vermont this year. Yeah, NJIT live on the money line it is. I'm not going to do that, but I'll take the 12 and a half. Maybe we get 13 and a half. If not, I'll gladly take 12 and a half. All right, next game, Wake Forest versus Virginia Tech. I like Virginia Tech here. I just honestly think they're just a little bit better. Wake Forest has some like okay wins in conference, so I'm not gonna honestly bet this game. These teams are like a little too similar. It is tempting though, because I don't think Wake Forest is very good. I think they're gonna choke horribly here. But I mean, both of these teams played it good against Virginia within the past week. I mean, Virginia, like both teams, looking at their road performance, Virginia Tech goes on the road and plays good. And Virginia Tech is a lot better second half of season, but yeah, looking at recent play, they don't really have an advantage. That's that crazy. That would make me want to go for them, so I'll pass. Next game, Northwestern versus Penn State. So I have no like real reason to. Oh, I didn't put the right thing in. All right, I'll get it. Sharoon in the video. But like, I like Penn State here. It might not be the right choice at all, but I honestly believe in them. Let's see if I can get the table. Yep. All right. So I basically have Northwestern as a 3.5 to 7 point favorite, which I mean, isn't very good. It kind of doesn't really provide me with much of an edge in that department. But yeah, I don't know. Let's check this out right here. So I have, yep, they're like pretty good samples, pretty comparable samples. I have them right 3.5 to 7. And like, yeah, Northwestern is kind of clearing this number in conference play, second half of season and recent conference play, they are clearing the number. And versus good teams, they are clearing the number on the high end. So it doesn't feel smart to take Penn State here. It definitely does not. But looking at them on the road, Penn State is still doing pretty bad, but they're a little bit closer. They are. Let's just check what these guys have all been up to because I think I'm going to take Penn State. It really does kind of not make any sense. But sometimes you just believe, nothing wrong with that. Oh, I wonder who's going to verse Gonzaga. I want to see this line for the McNeese game too. Definitely interested in that. I wonder if it's out yet. Just refresh this. It's out. McNeese. Oh, I can't even talk. McNeese minus 5.5. All right, let's see what I had him at in a second. All right, Penn State. What have they been up to? I mean, like they're off a couple losses, so I like it. They beat Iowa. They beat Washington. They beat Minnesota. Those are three great wins, and they hung tough with a couple people too. I mean, they hung tough with USC. They got kind of whooped by Rutgers and Ohio State the past couple games, which is why I like them to bounce back here. Interesting. Yeah, they have a lot of tough L's. A lot of tough L's. They hung tight with Purdue. Hung tight with Michigan at one point and Illinois. Like, come on, they were doing good at the middle of the season in conference, even though they took all these L's. This Penn State team ain't just complete chump. Yeah, look at them taking L's to Minnesota and Oregon. Oh, they beat Oregon, Indiana, Maryland. The Indiana win is pretty impressive, but I feel like, yeah, I feel like that was just Indiana playing poorly that night. They whooped Penn State earlier this season too, so I don't know. I might take Penn State like a complete buffoon, but we'll see. I don't think Northwestern is very good. I mean, I honestly see this thing as like closer to a pick 'em, even though that's not the right table this is. So, even though I do have Penn State as a pretty severe dog here, I still like them to cover. All right, Jacksonville State versus New Mexico State. So I would love to fade New Mexico State here off of their recent success. I think that they should be the underdog in this game. Let's just make sure this is still the line. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this line flipped overnight and we woke up in the morning and Jacksonville State was the favorite. I mean, I have Jacksonville State just performing better in conference, performing better overall. Well, they're about even overall, but looking at both of these teams on the road, Jacksonville State's 2 to 4 points better. Recent conference play, they're 1.5 to 3.5 points better. Versus the high ranking teams, I think they're around even, which is good for New Mexico State, but I don't think this team is good at all, especially off of wins. They are not able to win more than 1 or 2 games in a row. I'm probably not going to get on this game because, like, these games like this are just complete toss ups to me. I already had it open. Yeah, off of these 2 wins, one of them to Jacksonville State in OT. They beat Jacksonville State twice. I don't know why I like these spots like this because I've lost a couple of them, but they're not beating this team 3 times in a row. I just don't believe that. So I'm gonna end up on Jacksonville State. Great. This is such a dumb one. But I just don't believe they're beating them 3 times in a row. They beat them by 9. They beat them by 3 in overtime. Off 2 wins. They haven't won off of 2 wins literally all season. So yeah, I know what I'm doing here. This is not a good bet, but I'm doing it. Yeah, they're not off anything crazy. They're primed to win again. Or they're still angry about the loss. Just had a nice win versus UTEP, even though UTEP is horrendous, like all these teams are. So I'm gonna probably go Jacksonville State, take the 1.5. I don't mind that. Montana versus Portland State. I have Portland State as the slight favorite, but Montana beat them twice, so this is another spot that I'm like kinda, do I go Portland State here? Oh, -2.5. Okay, so the line came out. It's around what I have it at. I'm probably not gonna get involved in this. But Montana beat Portland State twice this season, so it's like I don't think they're beating them 3 times, but do I want to lay 2.5? Not really. They're off 2 wins, which is not a big deal to me. After taking 3 L's, especially, like, I think Portland State gets it done here, but I'm probably not gonna bet it. But this is -2.5, so kind of like where I'm at, so I probably won't move on it, but I do think they take this. All right, Oklahoma State versus Colorado. I like this spot for Colorado a lot, even though I'm not really predicting much of an edge, and Oklahoma State has been playing better on the road. I think that Oklahoma State got so lucky off of the recent success without their best player, and I think they're about to flame out horribly right here. So I may end up on Colorado. It's just like, how are you going to lose your best player and just play better? They lost this guy Falla, and like he was their number one scorer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row, but they were kind of losing those games, so they kind of lose the games where he does good, which is a little concerning actually. Yeah, maybe I can't fade them without him. Maybe they're better without him. I mean, they hung tough with Houston and they beat UFC, UCF. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna get involved in this. That is weird that they're like that they just play bad with that dude in, even though he's like their best player. So this is just a pick 'em. I'm not touching that. Last game. Okay, UT Rio Grande Valley versus McNeese. So I don't want to fade McNeese here, even though I honestly think that these two teams are pretty evenly matched. I think looking at their away games and looking at recent conference play, these teams are very close for McNeese to be laying 5.5. So even versus ranked teams, like yeah, McNeese is like are coming in around that number, but I mean they're both a lot better than those samples. So I have McNeese as like a 1.5 to 3.5 point favorite. So I like UT Rio Grande Valley at that number, but I don't think I could actually move on that. Let's see how they played tonight. UT Rio, like so, I kind of like the teams that like have just played on the neutral court already. Like they just played Nichols on this court and they whooped on them, completely whooped on them. Like they're hot. Like they're coming in to play a hot team right now, and they are off a ton of wins themselves. So they just played McNichols too, didn't beat them as bad. They did beat this team recently by 7 points, so there is that. They lost to this team though earlier this season. This was one of their few conference losses. They have 2 conference losses, one to Stephen F and one to the Vaqueros. Stephen F being the number one team in the conference with 1 conference loss. Who'd they lose to? Oh, they lost to New Orleans. That was their only conference loss. So I kind of be interested to fade McNeese here, but I'm not going to do it just because this is a team that can get hot from three and go off. And the Vaquero, I mean, I like the Vaqueros, trust me. I want to take them, but I don't think I can actually commit to doing that. So, yeah, it looks like I'm going to lay off. Okay, let's just go through the ones I like the most then here, and then close it out. So, Arizona State versus Baylor, I skipped. Alcorn State versus Prairie View, elimination game. I'm taking Alcorn State plus the 6.5. Pittsburgh versus Stanford. I like Pittsburgh. I lean Pittsburgh, but I'm not going to jump in on it. Cincinnati versus Utah. I like Utah plus 11.5. Like, if I see 11.5 floating around, maybe I'll jump in, but like, I'm not going to officially back Utah right now. Oregon versus Maryland. I'm on Oregon minus 3.5. UMass Lowell at UMBC. I'm taking the Retrievers at home minus 7.5 versus this terrible team. Just can't help it. Stephen F. Austin. Let me check if that number is still there. Maybe I'll jump in on them. I don't think Texas A&M Corpus Christi is honestly very good. I think they played a good game versus Stephen F. this season. So it kind of gives them a little bit of extra clout, but we're not really believing that, are we? That they're a good team at all? I don't think I am. Stephen F. minus 6.5 to just come in here and whoop on them after they already kind of have the hot hand on the neutral court from their win today. Versus a terrible team for what it's worth. Yeah. Honestly, I'm taking Stephen F. This is kind of a crazy move since they just barely covered for me by the hook last game, but you like what you like. So we're gonna roll with them, even though not much of an edge here. You know what? Let me see. This one I'm gonna keep in the back pocket right now. Let me see if I like the other games more. BYU, Kansas State, I'm not touching. I'm taking NJIT. This is crazy talk, but I'm doing it. Where is it? I'm gonna take it right now. Oh wow. Wow, NJIT getting money at 12.5. Minus 120 on DraftKings. Let's see if I can get a better number than that. Ooh, NJIT already down to plus 11.5. Might just take that terrible number. Check a couple more spots real quick. Wouldn't be surprised if. Okay, yeah, so a couple spots have minus 115. Alright, yeah, make sure you get that 12.5 because I'm grabbing a 12.5 on that. If you're gonna deal with this. This is a crazy bet though. Caesars might have some good numbers too. Alright. So NJIT plus 12.5. Wake Forest, Virginia Tech not touching. Oh boy, am I taking Penn State? I don't know. I'm gonna take Jacksonville State. So let's see what that comes up with. So 1 Alcorn, 2 Oregon, 3 UMBC, 4 NJIT, 5 Jacksonville State. I think those are going to be the 5 we roll with here. I don't think I can actually back Penn State. Yeah, those are my 5. All right, so to reiterate, we're going Alcorn State, Oregon minus 3.5, UMBC minus 7.5, NJIT plus 12.5, Jacksonville State plus 1.5. All right, so we got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right, all right. I like those five. We're gonna roll with them. If I end up hopping on any of the other ones, I'll put it in the comments, but those are the five we like for here. All right. Thank you.